you are required to solve for x. Now that immediately tells you that you need to solve an equation. Now if you look at a typical equation, let's say for instance it looks like this: 2x plus 4 is equal to 6. What you will do is to get rid of everything that is not x, and you actually want to end up right at the end with plus 1x equals. Whatever is on the right hand side is the answer, but on the left hand side you need to have plus 1x. So if you look at the plus 4, you'll get rid of that plus 4 on the left hand side because it's not required there, by subtracting it from itself. 4 minus 4 is 0. And then you just need to remember, whatever you do on the one side, you must also do on the other side. Which means then, on the left hand side you'll have 2x remaining. On the right hand side, 6 minus 4 is equal to 2. And then to convert the 2 into the plus 1, you just divide by 2. If it was a minus 2, you would have divided by minus 2 on both sides. Just as long as you end up with a plus 1x. And in this case then, 2 divided by minus 2 will be equal to minus 1. And that then is the solution to the equation. Now, if you look at the process of getting rid of the various terms which do not belong on the left-hand side, you would have noticed that there we subtracted, there we divided. Now, what we have to do in this specific case is we need to multiply, because we are working with fractions. We are dividing there and there, which means we need to do the opposite of dividing, which is multiply. Now, a very easy way to remember this, especially when you are working with equations and fractions, if there's a fraction anywhere in your equation, is to get your lowest common multiple. Go and find the lowest common multiple of every one of the terms in your equation. And in this case, it will be x plus 1 and x minus 1. And I'm just going to put brackets around them there as well. That will then be my lowest common multiple of all the terms below the line. And literally what you do then is to multiply every one of the terms in this equation with the LCM. So we are going to multiply there with x plus 1, x minus 1. We are going to multiply there with x plus 1, x minus 1, and obviously 0 times by anything remains 0. And then you will notice that that bracket and that bracket cancel, and that bracket and that bracket will cancel, which means what remains then for the next line is the 5 multiplied with that bracket only, x minus 1, and then minus 7 multiplied with that bracket, x plus 1 is equal to 0. Now observe something. In one step, by just multiplying right through with the lowest common multiple and cancelling what can be cancelled, I've turned that into a straightforward equation without any fractions. Now it's just a matter of multiplying the brackets out and then solving for x. So 5 times by x is 5x minus 5 minus 7x minus 7 is equal to 0. You can add those two terms together. That will give you minus 2x, and that will give you minus 12. Minus 5 minus 7 is equal to 0. And now we're back to the straightforward getting rid of the various terms technique. So we want to get rid of the minus 12 first. Always try and get rid of the terms not associated with the variable first. So we'll get rid of the minus 12 by adding 12. Then it will cancel. And what you do on the one side, you must also do on the other side. So what remains then is minus 2x is equal to 12. And then you just need to divide by minus 2, so that you end up with plus 1x. And you need to do the same on that side. So you'll get x is equal to minus 6. And there you've got the answer. But now this question has something even more. They're talking about restrictions. Now the restrictions would be whatever makes that equation or that expression in the equation unreal or non-real or not defined, undefined. And you'll get not defined if you get a 0 below the line. So in other words, x cannot be equal to minus 1, because if it was, you'll get 0 below the line. X cannot be equal to positive 1 either, because then you'll get a 0 there. Then you'll have 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. Now neither of those two restrictions fall within the answer, because the answer of x is minus 6. But they specifically said you must also have the constraints, and then you'll just say that x cannot be equal to plus or minus 1. in this case. You can write them out. X cannot be equal to 1, and X cannot be equal to minus 1 if you want, but you can just write it as plus minus 1, because it comes down to the same thing. So you just write it once. So that is the answer. That will be the restriction.